Hi, this is Paul from permaculturedesign.ie. I'm an engineer and permaculture designer based in Cork in Ireland. This is my permaculture testing site and my website is permaculturedesign.ie. So this is a tutorial about permaculture design for a small city garden. Um, oh yeah, there's the website you can get to permaculturedesign.ie. So it's late March and 2020, and ever since the coronavirus came on the scene in Ireland a few weeks ago, there's been lots of food buying. But after that, maybe during that as well, there's also been a run on vegetable seeds, on polytunnels, and on poultry. So lots of people are becoming very acutely aware of how far they are from their food sources and want to be more self-sufficient. And also, I guess, in order not to have to go out buying stuff and potentially exposing themselves. This is all great. I hope this continues. It's a positive of the crisis, and I hope loads of people will grow more veg into the future. So, how you stick all this together, though, um, is a big question for a lot of people because if you don't have experience, you won't know where to start, and even if you have experience, you mightn't be entirely happy with your setup. So, permaculture design gives you a method, a kind of a roadmap to stick all this stuff together in an elegant way that's site specific to your place and to your experience and skills and your needs. So this is the design site. This is Carolina's. She's kindly agreed to let me use this as a demonstration. I was working for her a few weeks ago in Cork City, and her site is at the very end here. So it's quite a small urban site. Um, so this is in a bit closer, and okay, this is her house, and this is a south-facing wall, which is on the north side. This is a north-facing wall on the south end of the site. So there's a lot going on here, and she has quite a lot of experience and does grow loads of food and herbs, but wanted to rejig. There's a few things she wasn't totally happy about, and we'll get to that in a minute. So I went for a consultation. So this is a view of the garden from upstairs in the house, looking out the window, I guess, and it gives you a nice plan of what's going on. So loads going on, and probably too much to take in at one time. In any case, we'll turn this upside down, and now this gives us an image of the place with aligned to north, if you like. So north is up in this case. And when you're looking at your maps, that's the way you want to do it because you want to get an idea of the sun's perspective on your site, and that's going to be crucial in the design. So, first thing to do, one of the first things to do is try and make a good base map of your site. There's way too much going on here, and a lot of that's going to change. So it's kind of confusing if you try to draw everything in. So you want to draw a base map. Um, Now this I drew by hand. Usually I do my base maps from either Google Earth or if it's on a farm, I'll use my drone to make a drone map. I've already got a tutorial on using Google Earth to make a base map. I'll try and put it up here if I can in a minute. That's for free. But this is a very small site, and the Google Earth images were a bit shady, and it's too small really to do an accurate base map of satellite. So I measured it and drew it. So like I said, my former profession was in engineering, and I did loads of engineering drawing, and that really helps in making these maps. Um, you could learn how if you haven't done this kind of thing before, you can learn how to do it. So it's a scaled map, and it's scaled 1:50. So it means for these are 2 centimeters I measured out. For every 2 centimeter represents 1 meter. You can figure out what scale to use by um, just maybe trying out what fits, get the longest dimension in your garden. In this case, it's along here, and um, see what fits. So it's 1:50. Maybe 1:100 would be more appropriate for a bigger garden. So in your base map, what are the crucial things you need to put in? A north arrow. You need to know how your place is aligned relative to north, south, east, west. So this is actually slightly north isn't directly up here. It's slightly up, but it was a lot easier to draw the outline of the garden straight relative to the existing lines on the copy. So that's fine, as long as you know where north is. That's okay. You want to put in the unmoving elements, things that won't change after your design, like buildings, unless you're going demolishing stuff. Well, even if you already put them in. So put in your buildings. This is the house, and this hatched line represents that we're kind of cutting through it. It shows that this wall is very high. Draw in your window. That's important. Draw in the door to your house. Draw in the boundaries. So there's an 8-foot boundary wall here to the west, and there's another building here to the south. But this building is quite low. It's a low flat roof, about 8 foot as well. So I've represented that with light shading, and that 8-foot wall top is at the same light shading. This wall is lower, it's at about 5 foot, and I've represented that with darker shading. And this is another building that rises very, very high up, so I just hatched that to represent that it's going very tall. And that's going to be important for how much light and shade is cast on your garden. This is a garden rail, it's only about 3 foot high. And this is a little garden wall near the door, about 3 foot high as well. So I also marked in, saw that there was an earth rod here, and that's going to be important because someone's going to need to get at that for inspecting it, maybe for electrical works later on. Also, from talking to Carolina, I found out that there is an underground sewer pipe here, so you won't want to be doing any crazy digging there. A good thing to put in is your scale, so you can see how things fit in, and a title block is no harm either, to record who you're drawing for, the date, who drew it, and the scale. Okay, so we have a base map, and when you've a good base map done, it's good to make 3 or 4 copies, maybe even 4 or 5 actually, because you're going to want to overlay the different survey information on top of these. If you put all the survey information onto one bit of paper, it'll just be a total mess. So you want a good few of these, okay? Okay, so we'll use this in a minute to survey the site, but first we survey the people. So with permaculture design, you need to survey the site and survey the people who are going to use the site and try to marry the characteristics of both together in a design. So that's how it works. There's no one size fits all. It's all site specific. So this is my typical survey page for customers, and there are 3 kind of parts to this, I guess. The first part here is what you want, your overall vision, a part about how you see the site, how the customer sees the site already, and a part about what resources are available. So just running through this pretty quickly. Overall vision, herb garden, she wants to use it more greens, more harvest, flowers, edibles, insects, white strawberry, all usual veg, spinach, kale, broad beans, beetroot, sweet pea, broccoli. Okay, maybe straw bales, but there's a question about slugs. Elements you want, maybe raised center. She wants tomatoes. Birds and cats gone. Oh no, wants birds or is the cats gone? Definitely cats gone anyway. Functions you want fulfilled. So this is a question about elements like things, and this is a question about functions, just to make sure you're covering all your bases. How you see the site, what works. She grows loads of herbs, has excessive herbs, chives, marjoram, lemon balm, mint, nasturtium, kind of takes over. What doesn't work, snails on the straw, and love is too huge. What's wasteful? Okay, she's watering from the kitchen tap, so there's no water supply to the garden, so that's important to start out later on in the design. Budget, none as we go, and that is totally fine. 90% of people the same answer. And okay, other resources, building materials, can ask around, has labour and skills. Describe neighbours, that's kind of important too. You need to know what your neighbours like, don't like, if you get on well or not. Maybe they'll even let you use some of their garden. So Neighbours are friendly, that's great. And timescale doesn't order start, no problem. This is my page of kind of a survey checklist, and it's totally blank, but that's fine because I usually mark all my survey stuff onto the copies of the base map on different survey maps. Okay, so here we go. This is the base map. Okay, so we're going to start surveying and make different maps overlaid onto this map. Okay, the first map is a zone map. So zoning categorizes different parts of your site, be it a farm or a small garden, in terms of how accessible it is and in terms of how frequently you use it or you get at it. So typically it's you can have zone 0 to 5, 0 being your house, 1 being really close to the back door, kitchen, garden, places you go all the time. Maybe your path on the way out would be 1 as well because you're always walking there. 2 is a bit further away. 3 is further away again, maybe your orchard. 4 is your woodland, and 5 is wilderness in typical permaculture design zoning. In a small urban garden, you're only going to have 1 or 2 zones really. So the whole garden here is zone 1 really, and there's a potential she gets on really well with her neighbours, and I think actually gives them stuff sometimes. They're kind of zone 2 in a way, and not that you're going to click over their site or anything. So that's a nice easy one to start with. We'll keep going. This is the PASTE map. Okay, things getting more complicated. So PASTE is an acronym for plants, animals, structures, tools, and events. And that's a checklist for your site survey. Try to make sure you get cover all your bases and get out everything. So you could do separate maps for each of these elements actually, but you can stick it all onto one as well. So you go around your site and record all your plants, and in this case it's all the stuff she's already growing there, like raspberries, herbs, and so on. I won't spend too long at this. Animals, there's cats coming in over the wall, so that's important. And there are slugs that are upsetting the show. Structures, they've all been recorded already. Tools, if there were a washing line or something, you'd record that in there. I guess that birth rod inspection goes in there. And events, so someone has to come in to look at that. Maybe if there was an oil tank, you'd have maybe oil deliveries and so on. Okay. So, oh yeah, there's a compost bin down here. Okay, this is recording sectors and microclimates. Now again, you could do this on 2 different maps. This is kind of one of the most important parts of the survey really. It really leads into the design later on. So with sectors, we're talking about influences coming onto the site from outside, like the sun, like wind. There could be noise if you're in a city or near a road. There could be pollution, views looking in, views looking out. So I try to record these pictorially on a map to see what's going on. This is the wind. Now it's pretty sheltered as you saw in the map earlier, but there will be more turbulent wind in the city sometimes because you're dealing with solid structures, and when wind comes across that, the wind tends to be quite turbulent, and you probably have all experienced that near a city, in a street or whatever. The wind can be quite sudden and gusty, whereas when there's trees and leaves and so on, it's a bit of a softer edge and it dampens down the wind a bit. Now in Ireland, well at the moment in Cork, a lot of the wind is actually coming from the south, and you're protected from that, and the southwest. So what happens is that it gets kind of canalised according to what structures and buildings there are. If it was in a farm scene or in the countryside, it could be canalised according to the valley. Okay, so that's the wind. Now, I'm going to stop now because it's going to run out and get back to you very quickly and record the sun.